It is not always that you get to experience the amazing uniqueness of Sri Lankan village life. So today we are going to do just that. Welcome to Kaleidoscope with me, Savithri Rodrigo, and to Nooga Gamma. Nooga Gamma is the first of its kind village in the city, and it is also Asia's first carbon neutral venue, with a history that binds itself around this 200-year-old banyan tree from which it gets its name. Conceptualized in 2009, this village, Nooga Gamma, just had a restoration to its unique brand of village life. And if you like Kaleidoscope, please do follow and subscribe. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn.
Did you know you can open a digital fixed deposit with just 5,000 rupees? Open a CDB iDeposit digital fixed deposit today. CDB, your friend.
Now here's a quick roundup of the week that was on CDB Snapshot. Global ratings agency S&P Global downgrades Sri Lanka's bond ratings to default following missed interest and principal payments. Worker remittances in July 2022 are down to $279.5 million, while January to July yielded only $1.89 billion, a 50% year-on-year drop. Good news on the investment front, the Board of Investment reached 65% of its $2 billion investment target for 2022, with 75 projects valued at $1.29 billion. And even more good news, UK's new Developing Countries Trading Scheme, which replaces the GSP, will allow duty-free exports from Sri Lanka on more than 80% of products. Dubai is the world's top-ranking FDI destination for tourism. In 2021, it attracted $1.7 billion across 30 different projects. The Arctic is warming 4 times faster than the rest of the planet in a phenomenon called Arctic amplification due to heat-trapping emissions from burning fossil fuels.
Making all your new goals in life a reality is why our strength is your strength. With 12 billion rupees worth of customer benefits in 2020 and a life insurance fund worth over 100 billion rupees, our strength is your strength. You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Srilanka Life.
Welcome, you're watching our Srilanka Life News Capsule. The World Bank reduced global growth to 2.9% for 2022, while global median consumer price inflation is at its highest since 2008. Low growth with a rise in inflation has triggered concerns of stagflation, which could increase inflation, cause high unemployment, and further weaken growth. Monetary policy is being tightened, and rising global interest rates will subdue growth and increase borrowing costs. Now, all these global issues are going to impact developing countries like Sri Lanka, hitting the poorest and the most marginalized. I had a quick chat with Head of Economic Research at Frontier Research and former consultant for the ADB, Thilina Panduwavala. Thilina, what do you think a global stagflationary environment will do to Sri Lanka?
Sri Lanka currently, of course, is going through a recession. According to the forecast that we have at the moment, alongside, of course, the inflation we are all experiencing. And high unemployment is an effect we're likely seeing, and of course we'll see over the next few months as well. However, in terms of a stagflationary risk to the economy, countries that have typically gone through a successful IMF program and stuck through it for a year or two have seen inflation moderating and sometimes quite rapidly as well over those 2 to 3 years. So if Sri Lanka does stick to an IMF program properly, inflation should come down and we should be on a positive growth path. Of course, the key is not to expect high growth, but a sustainable level of growth that Sri Lanka can sustain through instead of just worrying about the stagflationary risk to the economy.
There have been highs and a low or two at the Colombo Stock Exchange this week. At close of market on Thursday, the all-share price index moved up by 1.8% and the average daily turnover was at 4.8 billion rupees. WTI oil prices plunged below $88 per barrel, levels last seen in February due to possibilities of Iran increasing crude oil production and a slowdown in China's growth. Gold prices dropped to 1,762 US dollars per ounce as the US dollar strengthened, with the US Federal Reserve expected to continue with rate hikes. National Logistics Day was this week, so we turn our radar onto Sri Lanka's logistics industry, which contributes 2.5% of GDP with an export contribution of 7%. Joining me today is Director of Network and Business Development of ASL Logistics, Shiran Madhava. Shiran, ASL entered the logistics industry during the pandemic. Now, when everything was grinding to a halt, why?
While most day-to-day activities came to halt during the pandemic, logistics activities became busier and more challenging, which meant ASL had more opportunities. With the offices in Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Hong Kong, China and Thailand, and over 100 very passionate logisticians with us, even as a newbie, we now operate very successfully in the difficult market. So challenges notwithstanding, we see opportunity and we are looking at expanding to other Asian markets.
Freight rates continue to be very high, hindering exporters. Do you see this changing anytime soon?
Freight rates almost tripled during the pandemic, but our easing as demand has somewhat declined. And in some trade lanes, we see a freight drop by 50%. And especially Sri Lanka being a very traditional exporter of tea to Russia and CIS, it impacts us adversely. So the Ukraine war, monkeypox, and nuclear war tension in Iran won't see oil prices and freight rate easing to pre-COVID rates.
So what emerging trends are you seeing?
I can say 3D printing, AI, and e-commerce. Advancement in technology make day-to-day appliances smaller and lighter. 3D printing will help ease logistic traffic. And AI is mimicking and analyzing human behavior, and in all those things, automation has become more efficient.
An intense battle of the mind and the lungs. Dive chess is just like regular chess, except it's played underwater. Not only is it a battle of wits and stamina, traditional chess clocks are replaced with how long a player can hold their breath underwater. Anyone who likes to read is sure to enjoy speed reading, so get on board with Speed Reading with Sanjeev. Just let us know, we'll gift you a program and you can join from wherever you are in the world. The ask is $9 million to help 2 million women and girls affected by the economic crisis in Sri Lanka. That is the global appeal UNFPA is making for life-saving healthcare for women and girls in the next 6 months, whose protection systems are now being compromised. Currently, about 215,000 pregnant women, including 11,000 adolescent girls, about 145,000 women are due to deliver in the next 6 months, while 60,000 of them require surgical intervention. Plus, gender-based violence has also increased. With me today on Let's Talk is the representative of Sri Lanka and the country director for the Maldives of the UNFPA, Kunle Adeniyi. Kunle, welcome. Lovely to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me on this show. It's an absolute pleasure to join you today.
In your 2-decade experience, have you seen anything like this?
Very interesting question. The saying goes there's nothing new under the sun, but also because countries, economies, the world structure changes from time to time, we would say that the world is going into a new normal, which is the fact that everything that happens in different parts of the world really has impact and implication on other parts of the world. So I would say what's going on in Sri Lanka presents a new context of what we've seen before and what we expect to see in other places.
What impacts are we talking about, and in what socioeconomic segments?
We know that women often, hold roles and jobs that are not the highest paying, like a garment industry and what they do, but also because these jobs are often the first to get out of the way when people are cutting costs and doing so many things. Also, women also carry the often difficult, for the want of another word, job of being unpaid caregivers. So they manage the home, they're not paid, they're not recognized. Thirdly, we know that women also have the biological role of having children, which also gives them considerable vulnerabilities. For example, access to sexual and reproductive health in times of strikes, like now that we might have difficulty in accessing medicine, fuel issues, limiting healthcare, and also the one that is also very difficult is what's speaking about gender-based violence, which will be on the increase in any time there's strife and tension in the nation. So the vulnerabilities of women are indeed exacerbated at this time from a socioeconomic angle, but from a deeply social and contextual angle as well. Yeah.
So you've identified the gaps. And how is UNFPA actually helping these women and girls?
In Sri Lanka now, we have about 215,000 pregnant women. About 145,000 will deliver in the next 6 months. 60,000 of those will require surgery. So UNFPA is really working with the government of Sri Lanka to ensure that there's continued and sustained access to labor room medications, all necessary drugs and medicine that will ensure that these 215,000 women deliver safely, as has been in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka holds the pride of place in the region and indeed in the world to very low rates of maternal deaths. We wonder and we worry that if we don't make this effort, we would have the unenviable situation where we might find increases in maternal mortality. And we're working with government. We're so proud to say we're working with government to ensure that that stops. Even before the crisis, 1 in 4 women experience some form of violence. Oftentimes the women bear the brunt of those from men and the society. So we're really working to ensure that shelters remain open. Many shelters have been struggling to keep up, because most of these shelters are run on voluntary basis, contribution. And when people are losing their means of income, it's difficult to support shelters. So we're really working to ensure that shelters remain viable. Girls and women spend so much of their income on menstrual health products. Or don't. Now, when they do not, they use negative and unhealthy and unsanitary coping mechanisms that really negatify their health. So what are we saying? It's important at this time to also look at the dignity of women and girls and to ensure that mental health products and access to necessary things to make them live in dignity.
What I'm seeing is like a needle in a haystack, but it's a step forward. And I'm so glad that the UNFPA is actually working on the challenges that women and girls face.
Thank you so much. It's important that what we do now affects tomorrow. And if we do not make the right investment in women and girls now, it will take very much longer to recover the negative impact and the gains we have made so that we do not lose it. Thank you so much.
So we are at Nooga Gamma today with its ample doses of rural charm of a Sri Lankan local village, despite it being just feet away from the bustling metropolis. Set around this 200-year-old banyan tree, the pathways depict the traditional Danduwatta, and which actually opens up to a glimpse of village farming life, rich in biodiversity and also with elements of sustainable living and with organic produce that is cooked up in true Sri Lankan style. So I met up with the area vice president of Cinnamon City Hotels, Kamal Munasinghe, right here at Nooga Gamma. Kamal, welcome. What actually triggered the restoration of Nooga Gamma?
We want to give an enhanced experience where culinary meets that whole cultural aspects of a village in Sri Lanka, and that's what we have done with this restoration and refurbishment. So from the time that you enter to the village, you have a bullock cart, you see the paddy fields, you see the what you normally see in a village, and then you walk into the tavern, and then you walk into the restaurant. So that is what we have done with this restoration, what we did over the last 4 weeks.
So it's a due from Nooga Gamma and a thought to keep with you on our Kaleidoscope takeaway. Simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication.